Good evening, Ojai residents. Welcome to this presentation by the League of Women Voters. Tonight, we're going to hear from the two candidates running for Ojai Mayor. I'm David Marin, moderator and a member of the League of Women Voters. We are going to have opening statements from the candidates, then we'll take the questions you submitted via your registration on the Zoom website, then we'll have closing statements. At this time, it's my privilege to introduce the president of the League of Women Voters of Ventura County, Kathy Morgan.
Thank you, David, and thank you to our candidates for being here tonight. The League of Women Voters was founded in 1920 with the mission of educating a new group of voters, women, who were granted the right to vote nationwide with the passage of the 19th Amendment. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization committed to providing voters with factual, non-biased information, and as such, does not support a particular candidate or a political party. The League today continues with the mission of empowering voters and defending democracy by registering voters, providing information about the candidates and the issues, getting out the vote, and supporting fair and transparent elections. The candidate forums are an opportunity for voters to hear from the various candidates and to get the information they need to make an informed choice when they vote. Attendees to the forum are invited to submit the questions they wish to ask of the candidates when they register. The candidates have not been provided the questions in advance, and each candidate will have the opportunity to answer the questions posed. We are glad that you're here tonight to hear from our candidates. We hope that you get the information you need to make an informed choice. And at this time, I would like to turn it back to tonight's moderator, David Marin. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. We're going to begin with opening statements. Candidates will have 1 minute, 30 seconds. We randomly drew numbers earlier. Betsy will be going first. When you're ready, Betsy.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, League of Women Voters, for protecting and expanding voter rights and supporting democracy. So important. I'm known for plainly speaking the truth. I don't dance around the issues. Our biggest challenges are taking action in terms of water and our climate, keeping renters from being gentrified out of their homes, finding the balance in terms of quality of life and a vibrant tourist economy, and getting prepared for wildfire and other natural disasters. My vision for Ojai is that we can be a beacon of sustainability, connection, collaboration, and engagement. That is true prosperity. To implement this vision, we need to focus on values, specifically kindness, civility, humility, collaboration. Acting in the world in accordance to our values is an act of love and personal responsibility. I ran a 100% positive campaign in 2020, and I'm doing so again in 2022. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of the need for a qualitative change in the soul. If we want a more civil society, then we must ourselves be civil. Collaboration is key. My background as a teacher is in communication, group dynamics, and conflict resolution. Through shared values, we can be the vision that we want to be, the change we want to be, a more humane, conscious, and diverse. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is our candidate, Anson Williams.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me to this forum tonight. And people ask me, really, why I'm running for the mayor of Ojai. The truth is, Ojai saved my life. I had colon cancer, and there were serious complications from the surgery. And when I was finally released, I came to my home in Ojai, depressed and broken. But then the magic happened. I was embraced by caring, kind Ojai people who helped me heal. They reminded me just how fortunate I've been in my life. I've met the challenges of managing large, diverse groups of people on multi-million-dollar budgets. I was part of creating over 40 products and brought them to market that helped many organizations, and served on the national boards of the USO and the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. My Ojai friends asked me to use my experience to help the community face our big challenges: water, fire, housing, tourism, and more. And I had to say yes, because empty words will not get the job done. We have to stop kicking the can down the road, pull together for the greater good, we do, we'll get things done, and together we'll make Ojai a sustainable and thriving community. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to now go to the questions. Anson, you'll be up first on this first question. Let's talk about the economy. And how do you imagine Ojai growing businesses beyond just tourism? Are there certain types of businesses you would encourage to come to Ojai?
Well, it's funny, having been in the product entrepreneurial business, there's so much opportunity here in Ojai without another tourist. Ojai needs tourism to exist, but controlled tourism. We need to go from Ojai to slow high, okay? We have a lock on overnight tourists. No more people can get here. But we need to be better organized regarding day trippers and keeping cars out of downtown, creating a walking experience for any tourist that comes here. And research shows that a walking experience, tourists spend more money in a walking community. And we need to optimize more for each tourist. And I'm always one to see what we have and what we don't have. I have so many entrepreneurial ideas that tourists can take home to bring more economy to Ojai without being in Ojai. It could be from an Ojai goods catalog to so many other situations. And we can do this without one more hotel room.
Thank you. Betsy, same question to you. How do you imagine Ojai growing businesses beyond tourism? What sort of businesses would you try to attract?
Sure. Well, the first thing I think we need to focus on is modulating the amount of tourism that we have right now. We don't want to kill the goose that lay the golden egg. And we love Ojai because it's small, rural, and friendly. And that's the way we would like to preserve that. That's why so many people love it and flock here. So I would advocate for an analysis of all of the events that we have throughout the year and see which events actually benefit the local economy and which events don't, so that we can find that balance, that equilibrium between quality of life and a vibrant tourist economy. So in that analysis, we could see, for example, one recent event, there were 11 tour buses. That was not stimulating the economy because people came, they didn't eat, they didn't shop, they just came and left. So that would be my first start. In terms of diversifying the economy, I think it's really important that we preserve our areas on Bryant Street and Fulton Street for local businesses such as welders, mechanics, machinists. Those are the last places in town where people can still make noise and manufacture. And that would maintain our last remaining space in the valley for manufacturing. Everything we do, though, needs to be looked at through an environmental lens, particularly water. How much water is being used for any new development or any new land use?
Thank you. We'll stay with you for the next question, Betsy. Let's talk about traffic, parking. So what do you think should be done to reduce traffic in Ojai? Do you think Ojai should introduce paid parking or public parking lots for weekend visitors?
No, I don't. As I just said, Ojai is a small rural town. That's why I moved here, to live in a small town and to raise my children in a small town. And I think that would really change the feel of the town. In terms of parking, back to what I just said, my solution is that we modulate the amount of tourism that we have and the amount of events, and that will limit the amount of parking and congestion that we currently have. So that's what I would advocate in terms of parking. In terms of just the basic balance there, once again, of residential life and quality of life versus our economic stability. I think we really need to listen to the residents as much as we can. I hear frequently about residents who don't like to go downtown on the weekend. So once again, modulate. Find that sweet balance between how much is enough and how much is too much. So that would be my solution to parking.
Thank you. Anson, same question to you. What should be done to reduce traffic? Should Ojai introduce paid parking? And I want to make it clear, I don't believe this question is just about tourism. Could be commuters coming in, traffic during the week, that type of thing. So Share with us your thoughts about improving traffic, and do you think we should introduce paid or public parking lots?
Well, it's kind of a few questions here. Number one, I don't think people realize Ojai does not control Ojai Avenue. It's Caltrans. So as far as people coming in and out, that needs a collaboration with Caltrans and what our needs are. As far as tourism, the mayor had absolutely no idea of what we need. In terms of, tourism, I've been to communities and I've actually spoken with many mayors that are basically tourist orientated in their community. They create parking situations, and we're going to make Ojai a walking community for tourists. We're going to find parking areas. We're going to create this. There's groups that can come in that will organize this, where when a tourist is coming to Ojai, they know it's a walking day. We're going to park and we're going to get money from their parking. They're going to be trolleyed in or biked in, and it's going to be a walking day for this tourist. And we found out in research, they spend more money. They buy more goods. And we stop all the pollution, we stop all the cars coming through other than our local community. So there's so many things we can do in terms of resolving the congestion and everything that comes with it. And also really—
Thank you, Anson. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you there.
Sorry.
Sure. Okay, Anson, we'll start off with you on the next question. I'm sure you both anticipated questions regarding housing, affordable housing.
Oh.
And rather than just, do you support affordable housing? Tell us some of your strategies. Are you in favor of multifamily units, only condos, or only larger homes? Do you think any new buildings should happen? What about micro homes and the small homes, tiny homes, I think they're called? Share with us some of your strategies for improving the housing situation in Ojai.
Well, first of all, affordable housing, all that has been kicked down the road for 20 years. Our current mayor has turned down 4 times any kind of affordable housing situation. It's not an easy question. It's very complex. Yes, we do need affordable housing. We've lost half of our student enrollment in the last 10 years because families can't move in here anymore. They can't afford it. So of course, there's no kids going to school. We need to create affordable housing. And we need to really, and yes, we need to build affordable housing, but it's so complex. And we need a committee. We really need a pro committee to go in there and tell us what we need. Because guess what? The mayor and years before, we don't have what we need. There's never been a research group. There's never been a committee to tell what do we need in Ojai for affordable or workforce housing. We don't have it. And guess what? Very quickly, we can't even apply for any grant from the federal or state government if we don't have the needs we need and have the facts to prove it. So number one, we need a committee. We need professionals to get in there, and we need to know what we need. And yes, we do need affordable housing. I know the mayor said early on 2 years ago, we need middle class. The only way we're going to get middle class is affordable housing. I'm done.
Thank you. Betsy, same question to you. We talked about different types of housing, the multifamily, condos, tiny houses. Do you have any strategies for improving the affordable housing situation in Ojai?
Sure. I've said yes over and over again to keeping people from being gentrified out of their homes. In Ojai, we have an increasing problem with housing equity. And so we must seek solutions that increase equity. If we're going to build any new spaces in Ojai, they must be for the people who really need them, very low income households. And they must be sustainable and community friendly. There's a misguided belief that any new development is a good thing. And that often leads to false solutions, development agreements that displace people because they're in the path of the development. So I have 4 real solutions, 2 that are happening right now. So the first is home sharing. It was started by a local nonprofit. It's a new program kicked off to match homeowners with people who would like to rent rooms. And it's a very detailed vetting situation. The second one is Ojai home preservation, to buy existent low-income housing, apartment buildings in town and save them, save the people from being gentrified out. Two things that we could do, the city council could amend the ordinance in Ojai that allows tiny home pads in backyards. We could limit the amount of rent. And we could also reduce the maximum size of ADUs, so shrink the size, which will lower the rent. All of these are 4 real solutions, and we will continue to pursue other real solutions. I'm about getting things done.
Thank you, Betsy. We're going to start the next question with Hugh. We'll talk about something that's, you can't just wave a wand and solve, but the issue is water security, aging water infrastructure within the city. So there is the city, there's the valley. Share with us your strategies as far as dealing with water, to provide enough water, to recycle water, to encourage recycling, all of those things. Share with us your strategies.
Well, the big issue is that climate and water in the West are the same issue. And it's time to accept the reality of our dwindling water reserves and turn towards climate science for the solution. So water sanity in the Ojai Valley means continuing to conserve as much as we can, and then using gray water. We need to replenish our aquifers and Lake Casitas with any rain that we can get. And we need to perform scientific analysis of climate-driven aridification, so we will know how this will impact our water situation. Aridification is the gradual drying of a landscape. And here are a few facts. 20th century was an anomaly, very wet. 21st century, back to normal. And look at Lake Mead, 25%. Ventura County is the fastest heating county in the continental US, 4.7 degrees Fahrenheit. And Lake Casitas, our biggest reservoir, you can see it. It's small increases because it's open in temperature, increase evaporation. The solution is climate science. That has been what has been missing. We need to allocate sufficient city resources to aggressively pursue emergency state and federal funding for scientific analysis of human-caused climate-driven aridification. Science helps us make important decisions that we will no longer regret. So in this investment will increase our chances of having a sane and stable water future.
Thank you. Anson, same question to you about your plans to deal with water.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not an expert in water, and I've read so many different reports that conflicts with another report. So what I decided to do was go to the water expert, Richard Pages, and I wanted to get the true facts. So and let me read them now. Quote from Richard. Our Ojai groundwater basin and Lake Casitas supply both the city of Ojai and the Ojai Valley. We know this. These two sources supply an average of 13.5 million gallons a day. Our city uses 1.5 million of gallons a day. And here's what's like amazing that I don't think is promoted enough. Casitas and Groundwater Agency have been working with the community for years to conserve water. And we've reduced the annual water use from the basin and the lake by over 40% since 2014, over 40%. We've been at stage 3 emergency for 6 years. The community has responded by exceeding required deductions. Today, the community water use now meets stage 5 reduction, which is awesome. The results of these efforts in Ojai, unlike many communities in California, has given us 3 to 4 year water supply with little or no rain. But we still have a drought and climate change, and together we need to continue to promote the incentivize water conservation, drought landscape plans, the removal of invasive water.
Stop you there, Anson.
Sorry.
Yeah, keep your eye on that timer. So you're doing, okay, we're going to go on to the next question. Anson, you're up first on this one.
All right.
Let's go from water to power. Certainly within the city of Ojai, there's thoughts about becoming a member of the Clean Power Alliance. There's also the initiative about a REACH code, which is something where the city would try to require all new construction to be 100% electric. What about remodels and appliance? So specific answers, but also your vision, your philosophy about how the city should deal with power, energy, and become a part of the alliance.
I so agree with the REACH code. But we also have to make sure we have the grid for the reach code. But more than that, what we really should be talking about is solar. We could be an entire solar community here. We could be the example for the country. I know in Calabasas, they have a solar farm there that gives everything, that brings in everything the city needs. So I think we can have I think we can have a solar farm here. I think there's so much we can do with solar, along with reach code, because the reach code, to be able to automatically change gas to electric, it's not overnight. It's a slow growth process. Every new house, I think we've had what, 5 in 5 years, but anything new, yes, it should be the reach code. In terms of changing everything else, we have to be sensitive to the expense and whatever else it takes, but we'll get there. It's not an overnight situation, but solar can be so productive for our community.
Thank you. Betsy, same question. How do you feel about the city continuing to participate in the Clean Power Alliance and your view on the reach code?
I have the honor of serving on the Clean Power Alliance Executive Board, and I just am so grateful for the work, especially Miss Michelle Ellison in our community for getting Ojai all electric. It's amazing. And yes, we have to get off fossil fuels now. I consistently voted in support of a clean reach code, and I'm hopeful that with a new council majority, we will pass a clean reach code immediately. Getting off fossil fuels is woven into every aspect of our general plan that is coming out right now, and it needs to be viewed every situation we make, look at every choice we make. We must look at it through the lens of climate, specifically becoming carbon neutral. And I think we could get there by, say, 2028. Get all of the city vehicles electrified, get all the city buildings electrified, and that is part of the plan. And a big hats off to our city manager, James Vega, for making that general plan happen. Sustainability means we save more than we use. So we have to continually focus on that and keeping sound climate science in the forefronts of our mind. And any land use decision must be viewed through that lens of power and water. So in terms of passing the clean reach code, that's a must, and that could have been done.
Stop you, Betsy.
Okay.
Thank you. We've talked about some policy, but I'd like to give the audience a little bit of a feel for just sort of your vision of how you want to integrate yourself with the community. You would be elected mayor, but you're only one of 5 council votes. But you do have that extra special connection with voters. You set the agenda, you attend the ceremonial events. So share with us a little bit about your view of the Ojai lifestyle. What's good, what could be improved? What kind of changes do you think you as a mayor can make that really help to improve life in Ojai? And Betsy, you're up first.
Sure. Well, I moved here because of the lifestyle. I moved here in 2000 with my 2 little boys. They were 3 and 3 months, and I was looking for a sweet rural town where my kids could ride their bikes down to the ice cream parlor by themselves. And that's the kind of lifestyle that I think we all love about Ojai, and the access to nature. We're so lucky to have the Topa Mountains right there, Los Padres National Forest, and to have that access to nature, to the animals, to the trees, to the plants. So in terms of lifestyle, I think we've got to really protect our trees here. The cooling canopy of the shade reduces temperature, so that is huge. And in terms of the role of the mayor, I love being mayor for many reasons. One, mayor is both a cheerleader and a complaints department. So I love our town, and I want to do everything to promote what is sweet and special about our town. And I'm happy to receive complaints or concerns from constituents, residents in the grocery store every day. I walk around my neighborhood twice a day often and just talk to people and hear. Mostly listen to what's on their mind. So I think back to goose that, we want to protect the goose that laid the golden egg, which is small, rural, friendly, loving, kind, connected.
Thank you. Anson, same question. Share with us your views about the lifestyle in Ojai, what you think is good, what can be improved, and how you see your role as mayor engaging with the residents to make life better.
That's a great question. When I moved here for the same reason as the mayor. And the reason I'm running for mayor is there's such an unnecessary divisiveness and disconnection with our community. And I've spoken to hundreds of our community. And what I would do as mayor, I would have an outside office every week, so many hours a day, because I want to get involved with the community. I want them to have a chance to state their problems or ideas or whatever, because it's incredibly important. Because Ojai is so small, we can do this. We can bring the community together, and that's your job as mayor: collaboration, inspiration. As mayor, you have one vote, but I find so much division now that has to be corrected. We need to get together. We need to collaborate. The community needs to be involved. They need to feel they count, and they don't. I'm going to correct that. We're going to get together. We're going to collaborate. Their issues are going to be addressed, and together, the word is together. Together, we're going to make things move forward, and not say empty words and all this wonderful la. We're going to get things done, and we're going to get things done for our community, because that would be my job. It's not me. It's not being mayor. It's a pulpit to help.
Anson, thank you. Okay, Anson, you'll be up first on this next one. So one of the reasons people feel that there's not enough affordable housing is that people convert their homes into short-term rentals. I believe in Ojai, though, you currently have a prohibition on short-term rentals. Do you feel that's appropriate, Anson? Do you support Ojai's prohibition on short-term rentals, or do you think there should be changes?
Well, it's so interesting. I mean, short-term rentals in terms of
Airbnbs, the VRBOs, that type of thing, where people just try to invite people to come in, and then the knock on.
I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. If I had, are you kidding? I buy a beautiful house or a little house, and all of a sudden there's 18 people like coming in and out next door to me, and I have kids. No, absolutely not. And I think what's the 30-day situation now is fair.
Okay, thank you. Betsy, same question to you about, do you support the prohibition on short-term rentals? Do you have any changes you want to make?
Absolutely, I support that. And I'm grateful to the Ojai City Council that passed an ordinance several years ago disallowing short-term rentals or any living space for 29 days or fewer. And those short-term rentals can be beneficial to property owners, clearly. The reality is that they hollow out our community. They reduce the number of available homes to long-term Ojai residents. And residents have gotten kicked out of their homes when landlords decide that it's more profitable to run a hotel. So of course, this leads to diminished school enrollment, which is, our community is only as strong as its public school system. So, and it also reduces the number of long-term residents' ability to know their neighbors. And I've talked to so many people about this. People want to know their neighbors. It's really hard to live next to a hotel rather than a neighbor. I've lived in the same house for 12 years. I love my neighbors, and it's a beautiful community, and we all take care of each other. So specific and particularly, we have big issues in terms of wildfire and natural disasters, and we've got to come together as a community and as neighbors. And when there are short-term rentals it drains the juice of the community. It hollows it out.
Thank you. Betsy, you're up first. I'm going to try to combine two questions here around public safety. One is about your position on supporting the Ojai Valley Fire Safe Council. And the second one is the city of Ojai has had difficult negotiations with the Ventura County Sheriff's Department over the contract, the cost of the contract. Some feel that your city pays much more than other cities that are under contract. Would you be supportive of an independent or a city-owned, city-run police department? Or do you think you'll be able to make headway with the new sheriff? So fire council, what's your position there? What's your position on the sheriff's contract?
Well, of course, I support fire safety always, and I support the Ojai Valley Fire Safe Council. There was a question about funding. We gave them funding. The city council gave them funding about a year ago, and we get many requests from community grants from nonprofits. So we developed a criteria that ran through the budget committee, and one of the criteria is that in order to apply for more money, you have to use the money that was already given and provide a report on it. And the money that we had given the Fire Safe Council had not been used. So my council majority did vote to give the Fire Safe Council more money, specifically to pay some salaries and to rent some space and to do some workshops. I want to see fire hardening, boots on the ground. I want to see action. In terms of we worked really hard, James Vega, the city manager, and the city council to negotiate a new contract with the sheriff. We're getting a new sheriff, Jim Freihoff, in January. He was our former police chief in Ojai, and I've met with him several times. He's all about collaboration and community involvement. So I feel confident working with Sheriff Freihoff, the new sheriff, that we will be able to find an appropriate balance.
Thank you. Anson, same question as far as your plans or your support for the Ojai Valley Fire Safe Council, and also your position about negotiating with the sheriff's department on the contract for police services.
Well, I actually was looking into the police situation, but as far as the fire, I would have used my judgment to give the Fire Safe Council the money. I mean, it's a no-brainer. As far as our sheriff and police, I actually looked into it. The cost of bringing in our own police department, first of all, who knows how many years it would take, but I think they're looking at, they're negotiating, a better deal with the sheriffs and all that. But you know what we get with it? We get helicopters. We get, in terms of this, we get so many additional assets for our community that I don't think people are thinking about in terms of what comes with what we're paying. If we bring in our own police department, overseen by a council, I think it'll be disastrous. I think what we have is fantastic. I think we can negotiate, maybe improve the monies a little bit, but they are giving us a tremendous amount for the money, a tremendous amount of protection for the money. And I really think that needs to be clear to our community.
Thank you. Anson, we'll go to you for this next one, talking a little bit more in the weeds with city management, how you as a mayor will work with the city manager and in general set the culture with staff. So how will you attract better staff for the city? Will you look to raise pay scales? Will you implement any trainings or programs to try and just increase the quality of the staff?
Well, here I am coming in new. I think James Vega is outstanding. I think we're lucky to have this man. He knows a lot more than I do. But for many years now, over 30 years, I've directed over 300 television shows, which is a city, which is many departments, millions of dollars at stake, having to get it done, having to organize it, having to collaborate with all these different departments, and a lot of pressure to get it done and get it done excellently. It's the same tools running a city. It's collaboration. James Vega will educate me. We'll sit down. We'll see what has to be done. And then what we need together, collaborating together, we'll figure out the right people for the right job.
Thank you. Betsy, same question to you as far as working with the city manager, the staff, setting a culture, increasing the quality of the staff, pay raises?
Well, I totally agree with Anson. Our city manager is amazing, James Vega. We have an excellent working relationship. I love that guy. We have a great staff, and James has worked diligently to really find people who are perfectly suited for the jobs. We do need to, the salaries are relatively low compared to other cities. And so I would love to see an increase in some of the city salaries so that we can really attract and keep wonderful people. I can't say enough though about the quality of our staff. Walking into City Hall is such a pleasure. People are so friendly and smart and well-trained. So I would just like to continue supporting James. During COVID, we almost went broke because, of course, all the hotels were closed, and that is, the mainstay of our budget. And James worked so diligently to keep us our city open. A lot of small cities actually shut down, and we kept the lights on. We kept going, and he cut back. And so right now we're just beginning to build back up. James just hired several staff members, so I'm really excited to meet the new people and work with them. And really it is all about collaboration, communication, and really deep and thoughtful listening to each other. People generally, I'll stop there. Thank you.
This may be our last question. It's a frequent question around the county, probably around the country, dealing with diversity, equity, looking at racism, fairness. And I think diversity applies to even more than just race, but age, gender, preferences, type of thing. So in the city of Ojai, your impact as mayor, it does set, you are a leader, you're seen as a leader. What steps will you take to make Ojai a more diverse city, a more inclusive city? Do you believe there should be a diversity plan of some sort?
Is this
And
me?
that's you're up.
Oh,
When you're ready, Betsy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, of course, I completely support diversity and inclusion and equity. Number one thing in terms of housing equity is keeping renters from being gentrified out of their homes. So as I said, buying existing buildings and keeping people who would be pushed out in there. In terms of what I've done in terms of diversity, the city did a Pride proclamation supporting LGBTQ, and we made June Pride Month. We passed a resolution that made Ojai a reproductive rights sanctuary city, so promoting reproductive rights. We also just last week passed a Medicare for All resolution supporting Medicare for everyone. So I think in those ways, and of course, those resolutions allow us to write letters to support bills to promote that kind of diversity and inclusion. And most importantly, it's about listening. It's about bringing people together for the common good and making people feel welcome. I've worked really hard as mayor to make people feel welcome as they walk in the door in a city council meeting. And I think that's really, really important to allow all the voices to be heard and to feel safe, and so that we can express how we feel.
Thank you. Anson, let's hear your thoughts, philosophy as far as diversity, equity, inclusion, steps you might take as the mayor to set the right tone, steps you might put in place as far as even the staff.
well, actually, I mean, diversity. My life, an African-American man made my life. I wouldn't be talking to you today if it wasn't for a gentleman who was my boss. As he was head janitor, I was assistant janitor when I was in high school. He was African-American and helped me find me. Okay, so diversity, absolutely. And the thing about Ojai is we can represent it. This community really echoes to the world, and I admire our current mayor. Yes, when we do events, when we make certain like backings of national situations, women's rights or whatever, it echoes to the whole world. And I want to continue that. I want to take my position and be able to inspire and promote the right way to live. the respect for all peoples. And Ojai could be that. Ojai could be the microcosm for the country, a community that does the right thing, inspires the right things, and promotes the right things, and help so many other communities maybe open up for, like, opening up needs in terms of diversity and equality.
Thank you. Candidates, we have a lot more questions. I won't have time to get to them all, unfortunately. So we are going to now go to our closing statements, and we are going to reverse the order that we did in the beginning. So Anson, you'll go first on the closing. When you're ready, you'll have 1.5 minutes. So please, when you're ready.
Oh, thank you. Wow, Ojai is at an inflection point in its history. We've never faced so many serious problems at once, just like the country. Times like this truly call for a change in leadership. The city and its partners have worked very hard on a disaster plan, and it's a great outline, but it's an outline. We need a real evacuation plan, a collaboration with hotels and motels, so our town isn't filled with panicked tourists when disaster strikes. This hasn't been addressed. Water, we need to do what my opponents promised, but hasn't done. Mandating water-saving shower heads, toilets, gray water system, not just on new construction, but when homes are sold. We'll make that happen. Affordable housing, first, let's appoint a public housing commission to do a needs evaluation. It's never been done, ever. Tourism, let's keep day tripper traffic out of the city, get them out of their cars, and shuttle or bike them into town for a walking Ojai experience. Let's be Slowhai.
Thank you. Our next candidate, Betsy Sticks.
I'd like to close with a list of what a new council majority could do. We could immediately implement climate action recommended by our town's Emergency Climate Action Committee. We could deny approval of developments that displace Ojai families from their homes. We could adequately fund road paving in our town. We could secure state and federal funds for a climate science water supply study. We could cool our town by planting more native and water-wise trees. We could direct staff to actively seek state and federal funds to increase use of gray water. We could enact a vacation home tax. We could adopt an earth-friendly management policy that would ban the use of pesticides on city property. We could establish wildlife corridors for our wildlife. We could enact an ordinance limiting the rent on tiny home pads. We could enact a living wage ordinance. We could pass a local law that phases out single-use plastics. We could update and improve our tree ordinance. We have the opportunity to do so much. So I would like to end with just a big thank you to the League of Women Voters. Thank you, David and Kathy, for hosting us. And I'd also like to thank all of our residents for watching and for caring so much about our sweet town. It takes time to make informed decisions, and I appreciate your diligence.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to just share a little bit of information that the League has put together regarding the options you have for returning your ballots. Ballots will go out October 10th, and every registered voter in California will be receiving a mailed ballot. You can return that through the post office, you can return it at a drop box, or you could take it with you and return it at a voting center or go in and vote there. You are also able to track your ballot if you're interested, and I hope my screen is sharing properly. You can go to where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov, type in your name and address, and it will automatically notify you when your ballot's received at the post office, when it's received at elections, when it's processed. Good information there. We also offer information on Voters Edge. You can see the links here on the screen for other resources. Also like to let you know about the League's website if you haven't been there yet, LWVVenturacounty.org. A lot of information on registering to vote, on candidate forums. You can go and watch this forum and any other forum that we've already recorded. You can sign up to watch other forums that are still to come. We will be posting the link for this forum within 24 hours. I also like to take a moment to thank all of the volunteers who were helping tonight. You met Kathy Morgan. We also have Pat Essick, Cheryl Collard, Maddie Park, Wayne Morgan. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to our two candidates. As they both know, it is a huge lift to try and run for office. It takes a lot of time. It's hard on the family. So we respect your devotion to democracy. And we remind everybody, please don't forget to vote. I'm David Marin from the League. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.